So I just did this reaction. I decided I would definitely put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. If you are squeamish or you are sensitive to certain things, viewer discretion advised. I would click off of this if you don't want to see torture devices. That's for sure. It is insane.
One of the most painful torture devices of the time. You were forced to sit on this sharpened log, naked, and the device was never washed from victim to victim, which made it all the more dangerous and infectious. This meant that the victim could face deadly infections, even if he or she managed to survive. The way it worked is that you were hoisted with ropes, and the victim was made to repeatedly fall on the spike in order to immensely increase the pain.
What was wrong with people back then? How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a very, very cool, interesting looking video to do today. We're going to be checking out a medieval torture museum tour. It says it's the most authentic in Europe, from Brugge, Belgium. And the original channel is called Dave Kaufman's Adventures. You can find the links to the original video down in that description section down below. I'm going to go ahead and click like on the video. And yeah, medieval torture museum. This is going to be an interesting one today, for sure. I'm excited. We're going to check it out.
Our story today.
They got brutal back in the day. I mean, I'm not trying to cut this guy off, but man, it was nasty back then. I mean, you certainly did not want to get tortured, but I mean, you don't want to get tortured anytime, anywhere, but not back then. They had no remorse.
Our story today takes me to here in Bruges, in Belgium. And it's here that there is a medieval torture museum. And, you know, there's torture museums all over the world, in Chicago and other places in the world. But the reason...
Chicago, huh? That's not very far from me. Only a couple-hour drive. I might actually check that out sometime.
Why I want to take you guys to this place is this is a museum that doesn't have replicas of these torture devices. These are the actual torture devices used during medieval times right here in Europe.
Wow.
So let's go check out the medieval torture museum here in Bruges, Belgium.
Now, this is definitely different than my normal content that I react to on this channel. And we're going to skip his intro because it sounds like there's music and I don't want to have a copyright claim. But anyways, yeah, this is definitely different. Normally I just do like reactions where I learn about different countries and like funny, like the TikTok compilations of like dumb Americans. What's the dumbest thing Americans ever said to you and this and that. That way, you know what you're getting into before you subscribe to the channel. No reason to subscribe if you're not going to watch the rest of my videos, right?
All right, so as soon as we start into the torture museum, we have this guy who is very recognizable, Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. Is that the guy? That's Dracula, right? Am I mistaken with that?
With his, let's just say his cousin, I guess. So
victim.
I don't think these are the scales of justice, but look at this. So this is from the 1638 European witch trials that took place from 1560 and 1680. So during these witch trials, innocent women were accused of having a pact with the devil and consequently terribly tortured and burned at the stake. But before that persecution, a test had to be sure that they were actually witches.
That reminds me of Monty Python's in the Holy Grail. They had to, what was it? They, if they floated, they weren't a witch or something. I don't even remember. It was crazy. They tossed them in the river or in the water. Yeah, this is just crazy. Like, this is actual torture devices. That is absolutely insane.
So on the scale, the subject was weighed, and if she was found too light, she was considered to be a witch. So they would put the poor woman on one side here, put the weights over here, and if she was too light, well, that meant she was a witch. And she was going to be tortured and burned. In many cases, the weights and the result of the weighing were manipulated because, you know, the church simply can't be wrong. And then
Don't be anorexic in the medieval times, because you're going to be too light and you're going to be a witch and you're going to be tossed in a torture chamber or I don't even know. It's crazy.
this is exactly like my office chair at home. Look at this. How'd you like to be seated here, naked,
Ew.
have your arms be put in here, and
Ah,
have this rolled across your legs? The chair of torture. That's
did they have to scrub out the blood stains? Because if this is actual used stuff, wow.
crazy.
More music. Trying to avoid copyright claims. Jeez. That looks terrifying. Is that
So
a real?
this is known as the breast ripper.
The breast ripper is also known as the iron spider, or simply the spider. And this was a torture
Jeez.
instrument mainly used on women who were accused of adultery or self-abortion. The instrument was designed to rip the breasts from a woman and was made from iron that was heated in a fire until it glowed red hot. Lovely. Just
Jeez.
lovely.
And here we have the rack,
I just got
which is
goosebumps.
commonly
I don't know if you can see that. I legitimately just got goosebumps thinking about that. That is absolutely terrifying.
considered the most widespread and painful form of medieval torture.
This is the heretic's fork, and this was a tool that resembled a two-way steel fork with 4 sharp spikes piercing into the body under the chin and near the
Jeez.
breastbone. It was tightly attached by a leather belt to the victim's neck. This variety of fork was used in court procedures for charges against being a heretic and witchcraft, the usual offenses for speaking out against the church. Branding was a common form of torture. It's also called stigmatizing.
That's not branding, that's tattoos. I actually have a brand on my leg of my initials. The whole room smelled like hot dogs after I got it done, like burnt hot dogs. It was crazy.
And it's the process in which a mark, usually a symbol or a pattern, is burned into the skin of a living person.
If it was burned into the skin, then why do they have it as a tattoo? That is not what a brand looks like. Unless they rub like ash or soot or something in it to get it to stain that color. But man, this is definitely not my normal content, guys. I tell you what. Stepping outside of the box here, but I'm learning. And I knew it was crazy. I knew it was violent back then, but geez. I didn't know anything about the breast ripper. That is terrifying.
With the intention
And that thing
the
too.
resulting scar makes it permanent. This is achieved by using a red-hot branding iron, and during the medieval times, inflicting pain and torture was an accepted form of punishment or interrogation. If you refused to convert to Christianity, well, there was a brand for that as well.
Well, that's just a very Christian-like thing to do. Hooray for the church. Very godly to torture people. That is absolutely insane.
And here you have another kind of plank where the victim would be laid on this plank and a board would be put on top of him with all these weights until they just crushed him. So this one is still used to this day. This is the Chinese water torture. So the way this process works is to strap someone by his head and body, hands behind his back, then a simple drop of water would proceed to drip on the victim's forehead.
What do you mean this is still used today? This is supposed to be a civilized society. Are you serious? Is this what they're doing in China? What in the...
The height from which drops fell also was significant, for the strength of the impact of the water droplet hitting your forehead actually depended on how effective this method of torture was. After a while, the water starts to penetrate into the skin and skull, driving the victim to madness and confessions. So this entire museum is in the basement. It's in the dungeon of a building, but this wall right here is the original remains of the oldest European prison from the 11th and 12th century. So
I don't know if you guys believe in ghosts or not, but this place has got to be haunted. That is, wow. Could you imagine all the craziness that took place there? Jeez.
European prison from the 11th and 12th century.
1,000 years.
So this wall actually saw what is represented in this torture museum.
Wow.
This wall, if it could talk, it could actually tell us about all the poor people that were actually tortured behind this actual wall.
If that wall could talk, it wouldn't be talking normal. It would be screaming like a madman from all the psychological abuse.
That's insane. And here we have the guillotine.
Yep. Invented in France, I believe.
In here, blade would come down.
You know, the guillotine, believe it or not, don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure the last time the guillotine was used was in the 70s. Let me check real quick. I don't know how to spell it, but good thing for Google auto correct. Yeah, 1977, September 10th. That was the last time it was actually used. Very, very recent. And they abolished it in 1981. That is crazy.
Head goes in the bucket.
Jeez.
And everybody would cheer. Oh man, look at this. Everything in this display right here was used to pull your fingernails out.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ow.
Man. So the wooden horse, in its day, this saddle was a piece of metal that was sharp, and you were to sit on this naked and have these weights weigh your feet down so that it splayed you by your genitals. Yikes.
Wow, guys, I am sorry for making you watch this content. By the way, the wax models are detailed. I probably will get a copyright claim from this music. I don't know. So
And this Judas cradle.
if you do want to support the channel, I do have links down below for that.
One of the most painful torture devices of the time. You were forced to sit on this sharpened log, naked, and the device was never washed from victim to victim, which made it all the more dangerous and infectious. This meant that the victim could face deadly infections, even if he or she managed to survive. The way it worked is that you were hoisted with ropes, and the victim was made to repeatedly fall on the spike in order to immensely increase the pain.
What was wrong with people back then? What in the hell was wrong with them? Why are they so sadistic? I got goosebumps again. Like this is just I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
Fall on the spike in order to immensely increase the pain. Oftentimes, your legs would be weighted down so that the spike would further impale you. The psychotic mind that came up with this torture device is just simply astounding.
An absolute madman, and psychotic isn't even a drastic enough word for somebody to come up with something this insane. That is absolutely absurd. Wow.
So if this main section of the torture museum isn't bad enough, then you come past this gate and enter into the torture chamber.
It gets worse?
And you can really, like, almost get a feel for what it would be like to put in one of these torture dungeons.
Jeez.
And you would think that an organization like the church, who sanctioned all this, would say, hey, we follow a guy that said, love one another, love your neighbor, no matter what. And they sanctioned this. It just kind of boggles the mind.
I'm not religious by any means, but the Bible does say only God can judge me. But then the church is doing this. Wow. I'm sorry, but the church was evil.
And look at this guy. Rat torture. Where they would lay them down, chain them,
That's a big rat.
and then put a starving rat on their belly that
Oh,
would eat right through their belly until the victim died.
I don't know which method of torture is worse. I honestly think I'd rather have the guillotine. Just get it over with quick. Don't do any. This is just. They were playing with them like they were serial killers almost.
Unreal. And if that didn't work, they would use this on you.
The hell is
They would
that?
put this mask on your face, put a live rat in there, and the rat would eat right through your mouth.
Oh,
The ingenuity of torture devices is staggering.
that is just straight up serial killer shit. Like they had some twisted minds. What in the hell am I watching here, guys?
Torture devices is staggering that humans not only came up with ways to torture other people, like this isn't enough. Somebody had to really put some deep thought into the rat torture. What kind of sadistic mind comes up with this stuff?
The mind of a psychotic serial killer. Like the people nowadays that do serial killings and torture people have the same mindset as whoever the hell came up with this. Wow. The only problem is it was sanctioned by the church back then. And they didn't get random victims. They got like just people that probably did simple crimes like stealing a loaf of bread. Like it was crazy back then.
So this may look like any ordinary saw used to cut wood, but it wasn't.
I don't think they used it for trees. Let's find out. What? Jeez, why did I think this was a good idea? My stomach hurts now.
It was used to cut you in half. And then we
Oh,
come to our last piece in the torture museum. This is the Iron Maiden.
I've heard of that.
Excellent!
So this is a device that they used to put you in. They'd put your head through there, and they would close it. And these spikes would impale you.
Look how worn down the spikes are.
And they would close it.
Like,
And
why is that so worn down? Ugh. My stomach like legit almost hurts right now.
these spikes would impale you. The Iron Maiden.
Jeez.
Hang on a second, I thought that the Iron Maiden may have been the last display, but here we have the fire hose torture device.
What? That's not
Dun, dun,
ancient.
dun. Is that really a torture device, or is that just... No, all right, that's just to put out fires. All right, very nice museum you have here.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Okay, so that was,
Wow.
well, crazy. It's amazing to me as a historian. I have a degree in history. I don't know if a lot of you knew that or not, but when I look into the past and see what we used to do to each other, and not only that, but the horrifying ingenuity of those torture devices, it literally sends shivers down my spine.
Yeah.
To think that it was socially acceptable to use devices like that to convert people to Christianity, to punish innocent women who were accused of being witches, to torturing prisoners. And that was completely socially acceptable at the time. So guys, there's lots more strange adventures coming up, so hit that subscribe button when you do hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Give this video a like, and until the next strange adventure, embrace your strange and rattle on.
Wow. That is crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe. I want to see more. That is, I mean, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But it's interesting. I love history. I wish I was a historian. Actually, that would have been cool if I didn't waste my life away and make terrible decisions when I was younger. But hey, it is what it is. like to learn online, so I can be a pretend historian and you know, watch this kind of stuff. But anyways, that was absolutely insane, completely drastically different than the normal content of my channel, but it's reactions nonetheless, it's learning nonetheless. So if you want to see more of this kind of content, let me know. Hit like, hit subscribe, and you guys have a super fun, awesome day. Certainly a lot better than the people back in the medieval times did. That's for damn sure. All right, take care, guys. Bye.